Hello, my name's Robert Addams. What I'd like to do is show you how we can make the stretch cards, simple stretch cards from the CD. It is, as the title says, nice and easy. So, first of all, what you've got is a lovely choice of cards, and you just simply need to choose the ones you want to work with. I've chosen this particular colour here to demonstrate for you. So what we're going to do is print these panels out twice. Now, what you're going to do is run it through your printer, the first one here, and then you'll see on the computer it says print the other side. If I just turn this round, you'll see that we have a reverse side. Now this is slightly bigger, and this allows for the fact that the lines will bleed slightly over it, so when you cut it, you've got a lovely, clean, crisp, even image on both sides. So what we'll need to do is print two of these panels up, because we need two to make the crisscross. And each printer is slightly different. For most of the makes, the Epsons and Canons, I find that we pop it in, it'll come out the machine like this, and you just pick it up and feed it back through. But your one might be different. Again, just experiment, and just a little word of advice. When experimenting printing double-sided, I always say use a cheap paper and set it to fastest speed, least ink. Put a little mark on it, say the letter A when you put the paper in, and then you can make sure that everything lines up. And you'll get that printing properly on both sides. Make sure your print settings are set to none as well, that you're not enlarging. Everything should be set to none on the computer as well when you do your printing. So we're going to end up, as I said, with two panels, and the main cut lines are obviously on this side because the one on the back is bigger. It bleeds, what we say, bleeds over by about 4mm all the way round. That means that even if your printer doesn't line up properly, you're going to get a lovely result out of the CD. So that's what we're going to do now, and simply cut these out. We've got two of these to cut out, and just before I do this, you'll notice on yours there's two little red dots down here. The top part of that will just show, and that lines up with the lines here as well. So it just helps you when it comes to cutting, because we've got to put two cut lines into here, and rather than having that showing up on your artwork here, I'll just pop two little dots to guide you. And again, we'll explain about that when we come a little bit closer to it. Okay, so the next thing I've got to do now is chop these two up, which I'm going to go ahead and do. I find that you can use your trimmer here or a craft blade if you want to for the straight lines, and then I'll just use scissors for this part here. Or if you want to, you can just cut it out. It really is up to you. It's very forgiving. So without further ado, I'll go on now and cut these two out and then show you how we slot them both together. All my parts are cut out. Got my two here. So the next thing to do is to just, first of all, fold this in half. There's a very, very faint guideline, but to be honest, what I would do is just go with the actual card itself. So just bring this part over and just line that up with the edge of the card there. And you'll find that with this top one, it should naturally just come and create a line between those two curves there. So we get a nice fold, and we get one like this. And the next panel that we're going to make is going to fold the opposite way. So we almost create a box. So again, I'll pop that one down there and just fold this one over to this side here, like so. Again, just put a crease line on there, and we can see now that that lines up pretty well, more or less, with the inside part there. Okie dokie, so with these two parts now, what we're looking for is the little red dot. We've got to cut this and just slot them in. This is just so simple from this point here. Now, I'm going to use my ruler here to cut with. You can measure, if you want to, from top to bottom. That's 13mm, so half a 13 is going to give us our 65 here. But you want to come just a little bit over. So we're going to do two lines that cut from the bottom and then two from the top. So I'm just going to come up to, say, the 70mm mark here and just line up, cut with my blade there, and this part of the ruler is just lining up with the curve that I've got there. And again, I'm going to do the same down here. I'm going to cut, and we are going to line this part here to this part here. So put my ruler on there, and again, if you want to, I should know this off by heart, shouldn't I? Measure it. That's roughly 80, so you want to come at least above the 4, just to allow a little bit more room on that. I'll go to just say 45 or so mil. There's no marks to guide you because I didn't want this to show up, and it doesn't take, once you know what you're doing, you can remember, 70 on one or whatever, and 45 on here. Okay, so that's what we've got now. It folds in half, and we've got our 2 cut lines there. So with the next one I'm going to do, we're going to cut from the top downwards, and we'll just need to, I'm just going to pop this over because that's where my red dots are there, and again come back to this one and line up the red dot with the curve part there, and I'm going to cut in here, and because my ruler's the other way, I've got to work it out. Come down to about, well, actually, if you line up with, let's do it properly there for you. That's about 80 mil, so I know I've got to go just a little bit beyond the 4 mil range there. So that's along the top cut there, and again I'm coming down to here, lining up from the red dot to the cut line here. And I'm going to do this one just approximately by eye. I know I've just gone over the halfway mark, and there we go. As long as you're just a little bit beyond the halfway mark, you don't have to be too accurate, but you've got to have them deep enough to allow the 2 parts to come in. So what we now have are our 2 pieces here, like so, almost creating a box. So the next thing to do is just slide these 2 in. Putting them together really is simplicity itself. We're going to take the 2 back slots, you can see, just slide those in there like so, turn that round, and again on the front here just slot that in, see those 2 go in there, pop it back on, and then just squeeze it like so, and then the whole thing just sorts itself out. That final squeeze there, you get this lovely natural spring off the card as well. So we do it there, and there we go. That's the basis for our stretch card. Nice and simple to do, they look lovely, and last but not least, we've got our little archway here, and this can go anywhere you like on the card, but there's a couple of golden rules to warn you. I'm just going to pull this apart slightly, just to say, look, what we must do is always work on one panel like here, so it must always stick against one panel like so, or from there and across to the front like so. You can have it at the front or the back, it's up to you. What we mustn't do is cross from one piece of card to the other. The only time you can do that is if we, again, I'll just pop that down now, flatten it down for you, and at the very back of the card we can, I'll show you here, we can just pop it across the back panel there, and so that won't interfere with the card opening or closing. So that's just a little handy hint to you, and you can use either colour. It's white on the back, you won't see that, so it's just you could use it white if you wanted to with coloured lettering, or just work with it this way. And there we go, that's the finished card. Nice, quick and simple to make. If you're quite good at the computer, you'll find there's some folders on the CD that give you additional images that you could work with and create your own images on the actual stretch cards themselves, or you could just use various elements that you've got as well and craft with them. We also now have a lovely die that gives you a stretch trellis die that gives you a lovely cutout as well that you could work with them if you wanted to. So there we go, that's the finished card, nice and easy to make. Again, lots of choice for you to work with. Well, I hope you have as much fun making these as I do. Okie dokie, take care and enjoy your crafting.